All right, so welcome this Monk Wheel Builders. My wife and I kind of put this platform together, and we hope to do more of these like actual trainings. I'm probably not going to be the only trainer, but we will have other trainers that will come on board and do this training for our community. So this is the real estate training course. This is sort of the fundamental training course. We hope to have more advanced training in the future as well. So this is our first session, okay? Um, but yeah, this is our first session, and we hope to do 5 sessions, the actual training. I did have a mastermind group before, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Um, but then the group that I did last time, they you know everybody kind of start different, and I didn't give them like one set of trainings. I kind of just did training as we go, and I realized that it's probably better to get everybody to do the actual training so everybody kind of starts at the same pace, have the same sort of knowledge, and then we could still meet monthly. All right, so this session will be, just introductions, and we'll do the real estate foundational stuff first, and then we'll continue the training sessions next year. All right, so the structure. All right, so real estate training course, 5 sessions. Session one is just intro, that's 2 days, and just some real estate foundation. Um, and we're going through what's called the BRRRR strategy. So this is when you buy property, you rehab it, you rent it out, you refinance it, and you repeat the process. So that's BRRRR. And the reason I wanted to, the reason I focus on the BRRRR strategy is because, well, there's multiple reasons, but the reason I want to teach the BRRRR strategy, one is because that's what my wife and I specialize in. And then second is because once you master like this strategy or this method, you're really able to kind of do real estate, because you have to learn how to find deals in real estate. If you're really good at finding deals, maybe you just focus on the buy part, right? So acquisition part. You have to learn how to do rehabs, right? If you're really good at rehabs, maybe you just become a general contractor and then focus on rehabbing, right? You have to be a landlord. So this is buy and hold, right? So if you become a really good landlord, you could manage your own properties and maybe start management company, property management company, right? So all of the things that you do here, you could like specialize in any part of this BRRRR strategy. And then you have to be able to refinance the properties. So that means you have to know financial structures, financial programs that they have out there. You have to make sure that your credit and um, your financial health is in order, right? To be able to refinance the properties, right? So you're learning all this process. And so by learning the BRRRR strategy, if you really know how to use it and do it, you really would have mastered how to really invest in real estate. So that's why I wanted to teach it, and I structure it this way. And then after we're done with the 5 training sessions this month, December I'll be out of the states, out of the country, so we won't meet in December. Plus, there's just so many like holidays and Christmas and all that stuff. So we'll take a break in December. But starting January, when I get back, we'll meet like per set every month. We'll meet once a month, right? And I made a mistake there. Is real estate mastermind. So let me fix. Um, Wait, let me just fix it here. It's kind of bothering me. Let's say that. So once we're done with the training session, we'll meet once a month. This is really so that we can help each other out. This is our training schedule, and the dates on there, so that you guys can have that. I emailed this out to everybody already, but this will also be on, sort of our shared drive that we'll all have access to. Okay. So we'll be session one is Sunday, then session two will be Wednesday, same time, right? Um, Session three will be Sunday again, so Sunday evening. Session four will be Wednesday, and then session five will be Sunday again. And so we're just doing Sundays and Wednesdays for the next 2-ish weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. All right. The goals. So this is my goals for you guys. And again, I'll explain a couple things here. But the training course will be 5 sessions. I want to provide you guys with fundamental knowledge in real estate investing, so that you guys have a foundation, right? And then you could go anywhere from. I'm sorry, coughing. And then you guys could go anywhere from there, right? And then the second portion of this is to have the monthly meetups. Yeah, I made a mistake here. Wow, I should proofread this. Real estate mastermind. All right, so the second portion is to do the monthly meetups, right? And the reason I wanted to be monthly meetups is, yes, I could just give you guys the information, but you guys could actually go get that from anywhere. You could go to YouTube, Bigger Pockets, listen to a lot of interviews that we've done in the past, right? Go to the conference that we did, or future conference that we have, right? You guys can get the knowledge. But my experience is that you really should do it with a group. I've done that with the groups that we grew up with. Um, and so doing it with a group, you guys will run into issues that you guys have. Um, wow, really, I really can't type. You, you guys will run to issues as you go through your investing journey, right? And that's when you could come back to the group, and you could come back. I'll be leading the group, right? But we could come back and support each other. Like if you go and you have like an example, one of the partners that we did, it was his first deal. We did new carpets already in the basement, and rain really, like a heavy rain, right? The basement got flooded. And so, that's when he came back to us, and that's when we worked it out to mitigate that issue, right? But if you do it yourself, sometimes it'll be very difficult, or you might get scared, you don't know what to do, things like that. So it's really a support group, right? So we'll do that monthly, right? Meet for 2 hours once a month. But you guys could be more outside of that too. All right. So with that said, what is a mastermind, right? Mastermind is a concept that people have a long time ago already, but mastermind, everybody comes together, becomes a one mastermind, right? All the other minds. So there's 25 of you guys. All of us come together and we could help each other. That became a mastermind, right? But the main thing is it's just a group that we meet regularly, and it could be real estate, it could be anything, it could be like car enthusiasts, or football, or whatever your interest is. This interest is just real estate investing, right? And so you meet up once a month, or however often you guys meet. In this case, we're meeting once a month. And one is that you'll share. I think I have the next slide. Oh, yeah. So here's the mastermind structure, right? We're gonna meet once a month. The first 5 minutes or so is just introductions, meet with each other, do any updates that you guys have. Maybe you found a deal, maybe you have issues finding a deal, or maybe you're rehabbing now, you have some issues with some stuff like that, some electrical problems. You could bring that to the group, right? And then we could discuss it and help you guys find solutions. So in the mastermind group is really what you put into it, right? If you're there, you show up, you ask questions, you try to help other people, then you really get most out of the mastermind group. All right. After the first like 20, 30 minutes or so, if we feel like we need a topic, like our group, this just goes by the group, right? So if the group feels like we need to brush up on a particular topic, I could do additional training. Or if I don't do additional training, like example, like that we've done in the past, like hard money lending, right? How are we going to get the initial funding to purchase the property, like the actual what you call it, not structure, well, deal structure of the hard money lending too, but all the criteria that is needed, and the typical hard money lender criteria that you need to meet to get the funding, right? Underwriting those deals, and things like that. Those are many topics that, as we go through this whole coming year here, you guys have issues with, I could do additional trainings on those. Or if it's something that is outside of my scope of expertise, right? I could grab friends and guest speakers to come to do training. Or we just want some guest speakers to come in and share with you guys. We could do that, right? And then we also have 30 minutes, just to deep dive into any issues that you guys have, right? Like we'll pick like one or two of you, knowing that, hey, next month, if there's any issues, you could be on the hot seat, which means you explain all the issues that you're having. Maybe you're having issues with finance. Maybe you're having issues with, finding deals, or you're having tenant issues, right? All of those you could bring that in and then share those issues with us, and we all could help you out with that, right? So that's the mastermind structure. And then at the end of that, we want to share, write down, what's the most important next steps that we're going to take. This is just something that I put in place. Well, other people did, but I copied that and put in place so that after each mastermind, each time we meet up, you have something that you could work on, for the next month, right? So that's what a mastermind is, and that's the structure that I'm putting together. But the goal of it is to design to get all of us to meet up and help each other out. Again, I'm leading it, but if you guys have any expertise in any things that you guys have done, I know a few of you guys might have done some HELOCs and stuff like that, right? So you guys could share your experience going through that HELOC process, right? HELOC is home equity line of credit. Um, and so it's just what we put into it as a group, okay? Let me go back here. All right, so that's a mastermind. Again, it's one it's 11 more months, so it's 1 full year of support, so that we all could be here to support each other. The goal here is I want to help all of you guys at least do one deal this coming year, right? At least one deal. So that's why it's a full year process. Real estate takes a little bit of time. And so that's why I structure as the whole year thing instead of just like a weekend. I could do this training just like, do it on a Saturday or something like that. You guys get all the information, but I really think that the value of this group and this training and this mastermind is the whole year program where you guys still meet with each other. You still, we all could still meet and share information with each other and things like that. And I think after the year, if you guys want to continue, we all could continue. If not, you guys, I think will have a better foundation to go out and invest. And you guys could partner up with each other, right? There's 20, 25 of you guys here. So the goal is for you guys to also know each other and partner with each other too. All right. There's no competition in real estate. You just partner up with each other. All right. Then my personal goal is, aside from making sure each of you guys get one deal this year, is to look for partners to team up for future deals too. I'm fixing this future deals. Right. Yeah, so the whole point here is that I will partner up with you guys on deals as well. So we're also looking for partners, depending on what you bring to the table, or if you guys have deals that you could either handle yourself, that's great. If you guys need us to help, we'll throw our resources behind there to help you guys out. Like a couple of partners that we've done in the past, they have no experience, and so it's kind of difficult for them to get like hard money lending. But I'll partner up with them, put them under me as well, and we both apply to get the lending because I already have relationships with the lenders, right? And so after they've done that, it counts. Even though we partnered up, it counts as a one that they done. They have experience on doing real estate deals, right? And so that's an easy way for you guys to either partner up with us or you guys partner up amongst yourself to do deals together, especially if you guys are new. All right. So that's what I'm looking for too out of this group. Um, especially on the buy part, I'm looking for maybe two people. Um, I haven't announced this to other people yet, but I'm looking for two people to partner up with one of my buddies to because he have a marketing system to go out and look for deals and things like that. So we're looking for two people to join us and his team to start marketing up here in Minnesota. All right, just two for that. All right, housekeeping. All right, I need you guys to join our Facebook groups. So one group is the Hmong Builders Facebook group. If you guys are not part of that, go join that. The second is the Hmong Builders HWB Real Estate Mastermind. So that's the group for you guys specifically. I have about 25 other people. That's from the last session, last year's mastermind group. They're still on there, but sometimes if there's more of you guys using the group, we could start posting stuff that's specific to just the group, right? Uh, so this me, Tu Feng. Um, I'm a husband, father. I'm a Burr investor. I also a real estate agent with Creative Results. We started investing in 2017 when we moved from San Diego to St. Paul here. We have 25 plus units now. We've done flips as well, but we try to buy and hold as much as we can. We founded Hmong Builders. Let's see. My favorite color is teal. So a lot of my um as you guys see, there's a lot of blues and greens and stuff like that. That's just because that's my favorite color. Uh the what do you currently do for a living? I used to be in IT. I did that since 2008 when I graduated from college, and then about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, I left the industry and we're just doing real estate full time now. And then out of this group, I kind of shared that already. I wanted to make sure I could get you guys each a deal, help you guys through one deal this year, and then also to find partners in this group, right? We're still learning as well. I'm just like 1 or 2 steps ahead of you guys, right? If you haven't started yet. And so, we all could still support and help each other. Okay, so real estate investing. All right, this is the actual training course. So, I'll go through this because most of you guys don't have much experience yet. So this is actually good. Um, I will do the bird method like the following days, right? As we go through the process. All right. So the first thing I want to really teach you guys is real estate foundation. Or I call it the real estate foundation because if you started out, maybe flipping a house might not be the first step that you take, you know. So take a look at like all the different options that you have first. Maybe you already have property, or maybe you haven't purchased any property yet, right? Most of you guys haven't purchased any properties yet. So if you haven't purchased any properties, you could use this I call it real estate foundation um uh, or it's called house hacking. But this process that I'm going to talk about, this process and procedure that I'm talking about in this training, and I think you guys should take advantage of this before you even start like doing your rehabs and things like that. All right. So with that, real estate foundation, house hack, right? 4 easy steps, right? Step one, you need to purchase of 2 to 4 units, and I'll explain why in a little bit here as I go through the process. Step two, buy a small single family house, maybe 2 beds, 3 beds, right? Step three, right? Buy a larger single family house. So that'll be your 3 beds to 4 beds, maybe 5 bedroom home that you purchase, right? And then if you have a spouse, step four is that if you have a spouse, it's really just 3 steps, but step four, if you have a spouse that you guys are not like legally married, or not a spouse, I guess. Spouse would be legally married. If you have a girlfriend that you culturally marry, but it's just your girlfriend, she could do or he could do the same thing, right? And so then you guys could double up these steps. And so this is how I got started. This is how my mentor told me to get started. And so we started with this process. And what it does is that it create your foundation for you. Now, if you already have property and things like that, you might not be able to do this process, but the principles is there. And so I want to explain that to you guys. All right. All right. So that's house hack, 4 easy steps. So step one, you purchase 2 to 4 units, right? And there's a reason why we need to purchase the 2 to 4 units. So 2 to 4 is, duplex, triplex, or fourplex, right? And at the beginning here, what we want to do is we want to reduce the amount of fundings that we need, right? To purchase the property. So, if you start by step one and you purchase a 2 to 4 units in the St. Paul area here, SAC will be a little bit different, right? But Milwaukee will be cheaper too. So if you do that, you could use what's called the FHA loan, or I actually did the FHA 203K loan. Let me move this down a little bit. So you could, if you use the FHA loan, you're borrowing 3.5. All you need to put down is 3.5%. So if you purchase any property, any 2 to 4 units, that's between 8,000 to 25 grand. 8 grand is something that you could, put, if you don't have any savings at all. 8,000 is something that you and your spouse, or you could put a plan together and save that $8,000, right? And then you could purchase your first property, a 2 to 4 unit property. You'll live in one unit and you rent the other units out, right? So if you buy a fourplex, if you buy a duplex, so 2 units, you live in one unit, rent the other one out. If you buy a fourplex, you live in one unit, you're renting the 3 units out. All right. So this really, this loan program, yes, it could be used for single family too, but you want to use this loan program for 2 to 4 units. Anything that is 1 to 4 units is considered residential real estate. So this FHA loan program, you could use it with just 3.5% down to purchase the property, right? And so really you purchased it as a property that you're going to be living in. Okay, you have to live in this property for at least a year. Well, 7 months, but it's for a year. So you live in the property for a year. It goes by quick anyways. So you purchase the property, use this loan, put 3.5% down only, and you purchase the property, like let's say fourplex. It double up as your resident and as an investment property for you, because you're not going to live there forever, right? So that you could put very minimal down, but you're able to purchase an investment property. So that's step one, all right? And you have to follow this step, all right? This correct procedure. If you do it out of sync, it's not going to work, all right? So it's sort of like I mean, it's called house hack, but
What if I already have a house?
you'll have to use a different strategy, or you could sell that house. You may still be able to do the FHA loan. We've done that in the past. So we need to just work that out with the details, right? So we'll go talk to a loan officer, and you may still be able to do it.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes.
So theoretically, you said 7 months. So can you actually rent out the rest of the 5 months? Because you only have to be there more than half the year, right? For under FHA loan.
Yeah.
Theoretically, can you rent it out the remaining 5 months?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so you just have to be
Yeah.
there physically for 7 months only. Okay.
Well, the 7 months is not even like this wording. The wording is that do you intend to live in the property, right?
So I mean, like, say for example, like you buy like a fourplex, right? You
Yeah.
rent other 3 out, you live in one, but theoretically you live there for 7 months. After the 7 month, can you theoretically, just move out and just rent out the fourth unit?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, okay.
But what I'm saying is that the 7 months is really just to get your next loan. So like
Okay, I see.
if you get a loan right now, right? You do FHA loan, and then you want to buy another property, right? The next loans, they want you to have some seasoning. So they want you
Oh,
to do wait at least 6 months,
okay,
7 months to get the next loan,
okay.
Yeah. But the wording for this is that do you intend to live in the property as your primary property or primary resident, and you want to say yes.
Okay. And I have no sorry, do have another question.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
you know how you took a FHA loan, like say you buy like California, right? You're looking
yeah,
at fourplex, you're looking like 700, 800K for a
yeah.
fourplex. So if I take a FHA loan under that, my DTI, my debt to income ratio will be pretty high. Theoretically, would I, would I, be approved for even a second FHA loan that's like another around the same price project?
You won't be able to do another FHA loan. You can only have one FHA loan under your name at one time. And
Oh,
so,
okay, I see.
yeah, so you won't, the next loan, it will not be a FHA loan. So yeah, the debt to income ratio, what they do is that if you buy a fourplex,
Mhm.
they use the income of those the other 3 units, and they add that to your income to do the underwriting. So it's actually easier to qualify for a fourplex than it
Mhm.
is to qualify for a single family.
Okay. So let's say, for example, like say, me and my wife, so if I buy a fourplex under FHA loan and let's say after a year, I sell or transfer the house subject to, or my wife assume the loan, can I just go take a new FHA loan for a different, of a fourplex?
If your wife's gonna assume it, why don't she just buy the next one then?
I mean, or theoretically, I'll just pass it down to like another family member.
Oh, yeah. If they assume the loan, so if you just like deed it over, it's not
Mhm.
gonna because the loan's still under your name.
Mhm. Okay.
But yeah, if the loan's been assumed, then it's out of your name. You could do another FHA. Uh,
Okay.
if you purchase it and let's say, well, if you do the FHA 203K loan, right? That
Mhm.
203K loan, you actually borrow the funds to fix the property too.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
So if you borrow the funds to fix the property, the value of the property is probably going to go up higher than if you just buy a regular FHA loan or use
Mhm.
a regular FHA because you're adding value to the property. So in your case, instead, maybe you could buy a fourplex for 500 grand, but maybe you need like 100 or 150 to fix it.
Mhm.
And you could borrow the funds to do that. Now, after you fix it, it might be worth like 800 now.
Mhm. Okay.
So after it's worth 800, you could ask them to refinance it because the value has gone up. So you could refinance the property with 80% loan to value
Okay.
if it's gone up that high. So when you do that refinance, like after you finish fixing it up, it will not be a FHA loan anymore. It's going to be a regular conventional loan. So then now you could do the FHA again. Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long as you're able to refinance or do something where you no longer have an FHA loan under your name, you could
Mhm.
do that again. You could do
Okay.
FHA again. Yeah. But
So
but really, this FHA is really designed to help you guys get into properties, like your first, maybe second property. So if you start purchasing a lot of properties, yeah, like it's not a thing where you could like continually do it, maybe 2 times, maybe 3 times. But after that, you'll have like 4 or 5 properties. It's not going to be efficient anymore to use this loan or this loan program. And that's when we really start thinking about how to invest. And there's other more efficient methods to invest. This
Uh,
is just for you guys to start out.
I have a question. So when you refer to 2 to 4 unit, are you talking about like apartment or
Yeah. So, well, they don't have to be apartments. They could be 4 units separate in the same lot. But they have to have one PID, the property ID, and it's considered a fourplex, right? Or the fourplex that's together, that's that's a fourplex. So yes, apartments.
what if you buy one and it's fully vacant and we can't go live in there?
Uh, so if you buy that, it probably needs to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
So that's when you do the FHA 203K loan, which means you buy it and you borrow the funds to fix it, and you still just put 3.5% down on the entire loan.
No, no, no. I'm talking about like, how you said we have to live in it?
Yeah.
What if it's fully vacant already, Like there's already people living in there. All
Oh, you
four.
mean it's occupied?
Yeah, it's occupied, yeah.
Yeah, you have to intend to live in one of the unit. So
Kick somebody
the
out.
wording is that you intend to live in one of the units.
So I have to kick somebody out then?
Yeah, that's the intention.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad.
Or another question, how soon thereafter do you have to move in? Do you have to move in like right after closing, or like let's say there's like 2 months left on someone's lease?
You're supposed to move in at closing, but they don't come and check. Like it's not like they're holding like checking on you and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Like
You
like you
need to-
said, it's the intent.
Yeah, yeah,
Plans change all the time.
yeah. Because you could intend to live in it. You're trying to get the tenant out. They're not moving out. They say the lease is not over. They're not gonna move out. They're still paying you. You're still trying to get them to move out. All right, so 7 months has gone by. I'm just gonna buy a new property, right? But you intended to live in it. So that's the wording. All right, other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So right now, I currently have a FHA on my house. So you said that for us to use this plan, we'd have to look into selling the house?
You either sell the house, or if the FHA has gone, if that property has gone, if the value of the property has gone up enough where you could refinance it, you could refinance out of that and then do FHA again. Is that a single family or a duplex or
Yeah,
triplex?
single family.
Oh yeah. So
I have a question too. So your group, I think if I remember correctly, for Gruche National that I live in, but you know, like California is really expensive, right? And like I told you, I have a 5-acre lot in nearby Sacramento here. So I haven't used the FHA loan yet, but I use 2 conventional loan to buy my property right now, and then I partnered up with my brother and sister for this property. So will I still be able to qualify for the FHA loan that you're talking about?
yeah, so we need to talk to a loan officer that they will specialize in this.
Okay.
That they could lead you around there, because especially if you have that property with your brother too, what they want to know is they need a reason. You need a reason why you need to use this loan and you need to purchase, right?
Yeah.
It's if your brother's on there too, it's just like, hey, I don't want to live with my family anymore, right? I need to be on my own. Right?
Okay.
So if you have a reason like that, you're fine. You should be okay.
Okay.
But we need to find a loan officer that will do it for you.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
And
Thank you.
to follow up my question earlier. So I got my house at a 2.2 interest rate. Would it be good to refinance it under conventional?
No, do not refinance right now. If you have, you don't want to refinance the 2.2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I feel like
how many beds is this property?
it's a 3-bed, 2-bath.
3 beds. Okay. 3, 2. What you could do is just you might not do step 1 anymore. You might just skip to step 3. So
Oh, okay.
yes, you could use the FHA loan to purchase larger single family home, right? Which is step 3. Because yeah, you don't want to or if it's 3 beds, we need to find you a duplex or 4plex that has 4 beds in there. So maybe a large duplex, right? And then now it will make sense for you to do FHA loan on the a duplex, but it has to have a 4 beds, because you're moving from a 3 bed to a 4 bed. So then you now have a reason because you're upgrading, right? If you downgrade, that doesn't work because they're gonna call it as an investment. And that's what I'm gonna talk about next too. So
Okay.
all right, let me go on to the next, and if you guys have questions, we could obviously still talk about it. Okay. So after you're done with the step 1, purchasing your 2 to 4 units with as little as 3.5% down, right? So the idea here is to really start investing with very little risk and with very little down, right? And so taking this loan out is not risky at all because the government lends on it. They back it up. The FHA loans, the property needs to be already fixed, right? So there's not mechanical issues and things like that. The FHA 203K loan, you're borrowing the money to fix it already. So you already fixed the property up. So it's not risky, Step 2 on here is to purchase the small single family. Oh, my daughter's here. Give me a sec. I guess my wife and kids are back. Um, step 2 here is to purchase a small single family. And you could purchase this with conventional loans, anywhere from 3 to 5% down. So a small conventional loan, you have to live in the property. And the reason for step 2 here to purchase a small single family is because your family is still just growing, right? Or you could, or the step 3, you need a reason to purchase. Or let me back up a little bit. Step 2, we need to purchase a small single family. And we could still purchase it with 3 to 5% down conventional loan. So very minimal down payment. And the reason we could purchase that is because in step 1, you're living with other people, right? You're sharing walls. And so here now you have a reason to move out because you know your neighbors suck or whatever. You need your own space, you need more privacy, things like that, right? So you have a reason to move out. And so that's why you could still purchase that small single family with very minimal down, right? So when you move out of that and purchase your small single family, you're renting out the unit that you used to live in. And so you're still making money off of those units, right? But because now you have a reason to move out, because you need your own place, you need privacy, right? That's why you're
So I
able.
have
Yeah, go ahead.
a question. So, okay, so you mean that you can buy a small single family home and then living there for a couple months and then you can rent it out?
No, when you move out to buy the small single family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your current unit that you used to live in, you'll rent that out.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, remember you buy a fourplex, you live in one, you rent 3. So now you buy a
Mhm.
small single family, you need to rent all 4 units out, and then you move to the single family. Make sense?
Yes.
What
Yeah.
if I already live in a single family house?
We'll have to work on your situation specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just like I remember phone did tell me, because I'm already living in Woodbury, right?
yeah,
It's supposed to be tougher for me. Is that true?
yes, because you're in a nice area already. So how many beds is your
4?
yeah, you're in a tougher situation, Paley.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll talk to you. There'll be more advanced strategy. You don't have to use this. This is just to get you guys started. But you have resources and stuff already. You know, there's other things that you could do.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So now you move into the small single family, and there's a reason why we buy a small single family and not the large. Okay. All right. So now you move there with very little down, 3 to 5% down. That's 5 to 15K. I know SAC will be more, so you just add another 0, right, for SAC. No, I kid about that, but it's about like 5 times as much. So maybe 30 to 50,000 in SAC area. But the reason for the small family is because you could live there for another 7 months or a year, right? You have to live in the property, right? For you to get these very small down payments. So you could live in there for a year, and then the next year you move to step 3, you need to buy the larger single family. And you could still get very little down, 3 to 5% down again as well, because you're going to be living in the large single family, 3 to 4 to 5 beds. And so the reason you're still able to do this with very minimal down payment is because you're upgrading. You're upgrading from a 2-bed to a 3-bed, or you're upgrading for a 4-bed, I mean, a 3-bed to a 4, or you're upgrading a 4-bed to a 5 beds, right? So if you upgrade in terms of the bedrooms, they will allow you to do that with still very minimal down payment. It's because you're upgrading, your family is growing, so you need space. So that means you have a reason to move out. And so once you have the reason to move out, you could still purchase these properties with very little down payment. And so that's the process, right? Step 1 is to buy your fourplex. Step 2 is to buy your small single family. Step 3, you could buy your large single family, and all of these properties you need to live in there for a year, right? 7 months to a year. Right, so in the next like 2 to 3 years, you guys should be able to purchase 5 6 units, you know, or 3-4 units, at least 4 properties or 3 properties in the next 3 years with very minimal risk. This is a very easy method for you guys to follow, and there's very minimal risk because all these properties would have already been fixed. And the money that you need through this whole process is about 20 to 65 grand in our area here, right? But really, what it is that you really don't need that much. It's really just your first property that you need to do the down payment for. Because after that, you could save the money and then or get the rental income and help that pay for your next down payment. All right. With that, if you have a spouse then that is not legally married to you, you guys could do this twice. All right. So any questions on that? All right. The other question, some of the questions I get is, okay, what if you do like Pele's situation where you already have a single family, or step one, you use your FHA and you bought a single family, and so now you want to buy a duplex, right? Or now you want to buy a fourplex. Well, if you already have a primary resident, especially with an FHA loan, and you go backwards, so you did step 2, right? And then now you want to go and do step 1. It's they going to say that it's an investment property because why would you go from a single family to a fourplex, right? It's not convenient. It's less convenient for you.
What if we on downsize? What if you're a single dude?
No, they won't count it as the downsizing. So,
Okay.
so they're going to say it's an investment property. You need to do you know, 50% down, 20% down. All right, so you have to follow this. If you haven't purchased any property, then you should follow this procedure. All right, you need to do step 1, then step 2, then step 3. And then November 18th here, there's even more loan programs for step 1. So it's not just the FHA anymore. They will have conventional loan, 5% down for multifamily, so 2 to 4 units. Before, FHA was the only one that we could kind of use as the loan program to purchase 2 to 4 units. But after November 18th, here this year, they're going to allow conventional 5% down, a little bit more, right? 1.5% more. But with conventional loan, there's less there's less restriction. The loan program will be easier for you to get through. So you pay 1.5% more, 5%, it's still good. All right. Questions on this? I'll walk you guys through the actual numbers now. Right? So again, the whole process is to get you guys started without much risk and without much down payments. 20% would be a lot, but you're doing like 3.5, 3 to 5% down, 5% down. And you could knock this down in the next like 2 to 3 years. All right, the actual numbers. Yeah. So I think this will be at the end here. I put it up front here, but step 1, you buy 2 to 4 units. Step 2, buy a single family. Step 3, buy your large single family. And by that time, you know, you also build net worth as well. All right. So step 1, buy your 2 to 4 units, right? In this case, here in Minnesota, it's going to be about 450 or below, right? Don't buy like the fancy luxury duplex, right? Or fourplexes. So don't go to super high, well, could still be super high end, but just don't buy luxury fourplexes. It's not going to work. The number's not going to work. So in this case, here in Minnesota, you buy something about 450, right? Income on this will be a typical like 2-bed, 1-bath. Income's going to be 1,300. You multiply that by 4, that's 5,200. Your expense is 38, that's tax, insurance, everything. You still profit 1,400 if you don't live in the property. if you live in the property, that 1,400 helps essentially pays for your rent, right? Because you're renting from yourself. Yeah, so what it is that the 3 units already will pay for the rent. And so you're living rent free, essentially. All right, so that's the goal. All right, so here's the actual example. This is my property. So this is a while ago. This is 2017 or no, 2018. That's when we purchased this. So I bought property here, fourplex in St. Paul. And we bought it for 280 because it needs to be fixed, right? At that time, the rents were going for like 750, 800 bucks per unit. It's 2 beds, 1 bath on 2 units, and then 3 beds, 1 bath on the other 2 units. So what I did was we did the FHA 203K loan, which means I borrowed some money to fix the property. So I borrowed 40 grand to fix the 4 units, about 10 grand each, just to do cosmetic updates, fix the bathroom, kitchen, and then do new flooring, and then paint. I end up painting the properties, right? So that's what we did. We bought 40,000, bought for 280. We bought 40 grand. Total is 380K on this whole project, right? And so I only had to put 3.5% down. Things like after closing costs, everything's like 25 grand, right? And so right now it's renting. My monthly payment is 2,800. Other expenses 500. Where our income on this is 5,100 for all 4 units, and so that's making us 1,800 a month on this property. So it's just that first property that you purchase could potentially make you, a few grand on just a passive income, right? So you don't even have to like own a lot of properties if you just want to own like 1 or 2 to just kind of get additional income, and you could continue to still work, right? You could continue to work and just make an extra like $1,000 or $2,000 with very little risk to begin with, right? So it's very powerful if you guys are able to get this first deal completed. Fourplex, that's your first deal completed. What it also did for us is that when we purchased this property, we live in 1 unit and we rent the others, right? So the 3 units already paid for the mortgage, and we still made a little bit of money too. Even like right now, even with the new with the higher interest rate, you can still purchase this property. I'm helping some clients purchase some properties like this as well, and they could still cash flow, and the units will help pay for the mortgage as well already. So you're living like basically rent free, which means you live in one of the units, but the 3 already helps pay for the mortgage, so you don't have to pay rent. Rent is like your most expensive expense, right? Your monthly expense, rent is the most expensive things that you have to pay for. And so if you eliminate the rent, you could really save that money. So that's why I said earlier, you might not even need all the down payments for the other 2 units or the other 2 properties that you're going to be purchasing. You could just use all the money that you would have saved or from paying rent and save that money and then use that as the down payment for your next property. All right. So that's what we did on this property here, and that's how we got started. Let's go on to the next one. All right, the next is to buy a small single family, right? So if you buy a small single family, preferably 2, maybe 3 beds, you could still purchase it for very little down. Again, 3 to 5% down. So this is what the numbers would look like if you purchase that. A 2-bed right now, you could probably buy for 200 or below, maybe 250 here in the, if you go to a little bit nicer area. But here in East Side, you could buy for 220, 210, 200 below for a small 2-bed, 1 bath. Maybe 900 square feet home, right? And so what you do is that if you move out, you could rent the other properties out. Your original like fourplex that you lived in, you rent that one out, and that will give you some income for you to help pay for the new property that you purchased, the 2 beds, right? So the income coming for this 2 beds, if you were to rent it, it's 1,600 Your mortgage will probably be around 12, a little bit more now, maybe 1,400. So technically, if you rent this out later, you still profit about $200 to $400 as well. But if you live in it, it's fine. It's just that you're not your fourplex will help pay for most or some all of this mortgage, the 1,200 here, or will help pay for most of the property. All right. Next. Now you go to your large single family. So this will be a 3 to 4 beds. You want to buy something that you don't have to buy the fancy properties yet. This is probably up more like 300 and below now in the St. Paul area, right? This one you won't make any income because you'll actually live in the property, right? Your expenses will be around 1,600, 1,700, maybe 2,000 now. But given the market, with the high interest rate, might be a little bit more. Again, maybe up to 2,000 right now, right? But again, remember you have the fourplex. Now you're renting all 4 units out. You move to this a new property, the 3 to 4 beds, right? You're now renting the other unit out, your single family, the small single family that you did in step 2, and so you'll generate an income from there as well to help you pay for this third property that you own. I'm gonna skip there. Yeah, I meant to put this here. All right. So what you did at the end is that with if you use this method, you can get all these 3 properties. At the very end, you might just end up paying even less, but so with all these properties, your total income when you add out the fourplex, the small single family that you purchased in step 2, your income probably around like 6,800, right? But your total expense, right, including your 3 to 4 beds that you live in step 3, right? Your total expense probably around 6,600, right? So if you add all of that, your income and expense all together, you may still come ahead at about $200 to $300, right? So basically, you're living in your property for free, or even if you had to pay 200 to 300, your entire expense for all three property is very minimal, so that you could you don't have to be paying either rent or mortgage out to people. Versus if you skip to step 3, now you're paying 1,600 or 2,000, right? But if you follow step 1, 2, and then go to step 3, you either still make some profit or you're paying very little, maybe 200-300 out for all the expenses that you have, right? So the point of this is really to help you guys try to live rent or mortgage free, so that you don't have to be paying your most expensive expense per month, which is your mortgage, right? And then what it also does is that if you have these 3 properties, or 6 units, right? Total 6 units if you buy a fourplex. What it does with these 3 properties is that you build your net worth as well. Because remember, you're renting these properties out, so you're actually not paying for the property, like your tenants are paying for the property. So your tenant is building your net worth for you. So with these 3 properties, if you do this in the next 2 to 3 years, the property's value will be at least $900,000 already. After of course, there's debt on it, so that's not your net worth. But after it's paid off in the next 20 to 30 years, it's very easy for you to be worth at least $1 million in net worth. Again, these properties are paid by your tenants, so you're not paying for these properties. You're just putting the initial down payments, right? But you're trading that down payment for over $1 million of property values, and in 30 years, it's worth more than $1 million. All right, questions on this? I'm gonna stop right here and see if you guys have questions.
Do you have access to this PowerPoint?
Yes. I'll put it in the shared folder, so you guys will be able to have access to it. All right, so those that don't have our property yet, right? Like this is, I truly recommend you guys to follow this method. If you don't have any properties, put in the work. I mean, it's the next 2 to 3 years, right? It's very minimal. Stay at your job. Don't quit your job yet. Just follow this method, and you're building over $1 million of net worth for yourself already. And then after this, if you guys want to scale, that's the next training that we're gonna give, right? But at minimum, everybody should at least purchase these 3 properties if you haven't purchased any properties yet. Questions?
Yeah, sorry, I do have one. I
Yeah.
know this wouldn't really cash flow in Sacramento or California, but in let's say in the Midwest over there, even at 8% interest rate, would you still naturally cash flow with the current rates?
Yes, you can still cash flow. Not as great as it was before, but you can still cash flow. We're just having to purchase property for lower now. I just help a client. We're gonna close on the property, the duplex. We bought it for they listed for 210, and we offer 205, right? But a year and a half ago, that property was selling for like 250, and
Mhm.
everybody's still fighting over it because of the low interest rate. So right now, we're purchasing the properties for less than it was before. Yes, it needs a little bit. There's some peeling paint, and so we have to spend about $1,000 to fix it.
So for that price for 205, are you buying it for the for assuming 250 is the ARV value, right? So assuming you bought a 205, is that you're buying it because it has equity, or is it because it's still cash flow?
We buy it because it's still cash flow.
Okay, even at
And
8% interest.
yeah, at 8,
Okay,
yeah. Remember,
okay,
rents also went up too over here.
okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the rates over there. What was the average increase on rental rates over there?
Oh, they're doing 3%. You guys
3%.
caught up to us.
Okay.
California caught up.
Yeah, but California is not really cash flowing state right now.
Yeah, so in California, you want to think about it's an appreciation market, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's I
you
know.
guys gonna appreciate way faster than we are.
Mhm.
What you want to think about over there is that okay, I'm paying whatever it is that you're paying per month for your rent, right? You want to follow this procedure still, this process still to reduce the amount that you'll be paying out as rent. So how much are you paying for rent right now? Or do you know?
So we have three. Do have 3 properties but I'm just paying it to house my immediate family. So my 2 older brothers. So one I'm paying 38. The one I'm staying, I'm paying 25 because it's bought back in 2014.
Yeah.
And then I just bought a place for my brother. Now we're paying about 38, and one in Sacramento paying about 35 a month.
Yeah, so see, you want to just do the math to make sure you're not paying 35, right? So if you're paying 25 versus 35, that's $1,000 saving.
Yeah.
So over there, you have to look at it in that sense, just to reduce your monthly payments.
Okay.
Hey, brother, too.
Yeah.
So, with the 8% interest rate right now, and how is the rental income going to cover the mortgage after we pull out the 75% LTV on the cash out refinance?
If you do 75, it'll still cash flow. It's just tougher, we're not making as much as we did before, right?
Yeah.
But we're not gonna do the deal unless it cash flow. Now that's
Oh, okay.
the other is that I did a 5-year interest only on one of my property.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think in 5 years, interest rate needs to come down. So that gave us the cash flow right now, but of course we're not paying the principal down, right? So that
Okay.
still work.
So the goal is don't like you said, don't get the very expensive
Yeah.
places yet, right?
Yeah,
Just
not
get
yet. Not yet.
just the mediocre ones.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want to start with the expensive stuff. Unless you guys are ready, I think there's a few of you guys here that you guys have your own businesses and stuff. Now, if you have a way to generate money and you just need to put in real estate, that's fine. Like you don't need to, you could go and get the nicer real estate properties, right? And then you don't have to cash flow, or you cash flow very little, but the main thing is just that you probably want it for to offset your tax liabilities. There's other reasons to purchase the real estate.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I want to do it, so I can to help me on the tax.
yeah, man, you need
Yeah,
to.
'cause I'm paying too much back, so I
Yeah.
kind of want to get into it, and it's perfect timing too. So
Yeah, yeah. See, all the interest payments that you're making, those are tax deductible, right? Uh, so you get that all deducted. See, I was gonna say something, but maybe I'll come back. All right, so the goal here again is just to make sure that you guys, you know, save some money on your monthly expense, which is your most expensive expense, which is your mortgage or your rent, right? You have to live somewhere, so you either pay rent or you pay mortgage. All right. Aside from that, aside from living rent-free or mortgage-free, what I found is that if you don't have to worry about paying rent all the time, it actually frees your mind, your mindset, so that you could start looking at other real estate deals or focus on your business, or you know, focus on the things, because your most expensive expense is already taken care of, right? So I think freeing the mind is actually more important. And you know, just these easy 3 steps process. Or if you have a spouse, the spouse could do it too. That's the 4th step. All right, so what do we do next? If you guys want to follow this step, the next thing is to find a loan officer. Okay, so whichever area you guys are in, go out and reach out to loan officers. You need to get you need loan officers that will know FHA loan programs. I put VA on here also. VA is Veterans Affairs. With that, they put 0% down. So anyone that has VA benefits, you don't have to put anything down. So 0%. Very similar program. Or after November 18th, they'll have the 5% conventional loan program for the 2 to 4 units. So you want to find a loan officer that has done these deals before, right? Not all loan officers will do these deals, because the easiest deals to do is the 20 to 30% down. And so some loan officers will not do it, right? So you want to find a loan officer or mortgage broker that will do these loans. Once you meet with them, get pre-approved, right? Even if you're not ready, get pre-approved so you know where you stand. And then that you could plan with the loan officer or the mortgage broker to put steps in place to get you approved for these 2 to 4 units. All right. And then if you're not really approved yet, right, this will be an opportunity for you to structure something with put a game plan together with your loan officer and start putting saving money as your down payment if you need to, right? Once you have like an idea how much you need to save, you'll be able to save that. If you don't, you won't be able to. So it's good for you to go and meet up and talk to them. All right, second step on here is for you to go talk to a real estate investor friendly realtor, right? I think we have a couple of realtors in here. I'm also a realtor as well, but you want to talk to a real estate investor friendly realtor. So that means a realtor, real estate agent that knows, you know, this investment strategy, that knows that you're purchasing this as your primary resident, but doubled up as your investment property as well, right? So you want to find someone, an agent that knows this, know these programs, and they could start helping you to look at deals, right? So that's in SAC. I had some friends in SAC too, Arkansas, Milwaukee. Of course, I'm here, so if you guys need my help, if not, we have other friends as well that you guys could work with, right? And then last step on here is to find a general contractor. If you're going to do the FHA 203K loan, you need a general contractor that knows what they're doing. Actually, if you're gonna do a FHA 203K loan, you need a general contractor that knows what they're doing, that's also 203K approved. You need a real estate agent that knows what they're doing. You need a loan officer that knows what they're doing. All right. So these are the next steps that you guys could take within the next few days, within the next few weeks here, especially those of you guys that haven't purchased any properties. Go out and talk to loan officers. If you guys need recommendations on any loan officers, especially here in Minnesota, I have people that we work with. SAC, I have some agents that I know over there as well, including Arkansas, Milwaukee, Appleton area also. Okay. All right, that's it. I think we're already at, we have 10 more minutes. So do you guys have any questions or comments?
Yes, so I do have some questions. So too, I know this is kind of off topic from the BRRRR method, but like just for like structuring the business of real estate, are you gonna be talking about that, or just disclosing that to the rest of us? Like, what's the best way to to structure the business, the real estate business, how like under LLC or holding companies to offset tax write-offs and all that too, or?
I don't think you need that for this course yet.
Okay.
Because like you guys are just starting out, all of this here, you cannot buy them under LLC. You need to buy them under your name because you're getting these loans because it's for you, right?
Well, in
Now-
general, like first, sorry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, apologize.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah,
finish.
yeah. And then once we do the BRRRR method, you guys purchase a few properties, right? You should probably still use it under your name because when you refinance, you could get how the mortgage industry work is like there's a secondary market, right? So
Mhm.
what they do is they structure the loans and whatever it is with you, and then let's say the bank has 500,000.
Mhm.
They give you the $500,000 for your loan. Now they're out of money. So how the government, so they cannot do loans anymore, right?
Yeah.
How the government help with that is that the government created these agencies that purchase those loans. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Ginnie Mae, like all these other agencies that they will come and purchase these loans. Of course, when they purchase these loans, they have certain criteria because they want to make sure the loans won't default, right? That you can pay for the loan. So that's why they have like income requirement. That's why they have debt to income ratios. They have credit requirement, all that stuff, right? It's because these agencies will come. So that $500,000 loan that the bank gave you, they will sell that $500,000 loan to these agencies, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's called a secondary market, right? So they'll
So
sell
basically
you
selling a
off.
note.
Well, what is it?
So basically selling a note.
Yeah, yeah.
Selling
So they
right
do
now. Okay.
they do this all the time. So you will not, if you go to Wells Fargo, don't be surprised that 3 months later some other organization is gonna call you and say, hey, we own your loan now, pay us, don't pay Wells Fargo.
Yeah.
So
So I'm
so
familiar with.
I get to your thing here in a little bit, right?
Okay.
I'm explaining this just so everyone
Oh,
understands.
okay.
All right. So because the agency purchased these loans, they mainly will allow you to do only like they give you very good rates, like they give you the best rates because the agencies are backing up the loans, right? So they give you the best rates, everything. All right. These agencies, they cannot buy like to reduce the risk of you, right? Or Fong or me or whoever, right? They're not gonna allow us to have 100 of these loans because now we become risky because we have so many properties already, right? So they limit it to around 6 to 10 loans only. So that means that the first around the first 10 loans that you take out under your name, you have the best rates and the best terms. Now, if those loans you put it under LLC, you're not gonna get those terms anymore. So that's why your first 10 properties, just do it under your name to begin with, so that you get the best, take advantage of the best rates and the best terms. And then now after the 10 properties, you're not going to be able to get those terms anymore. So that's when we start thinking about, okay, how should we structure it under LLCs and everything like that. So that's why I'm like, okay, it's sort of out of the scope of this, but of this class, because I don't think you guys will be able to purchase 10 properties in this year under your name. So anyways, do that first, and then we could start thinking about structuring. Now, structure and LLC. So I hope that answered your question first. That I could talk about LLC structure.
Yeah, sorry, the only reason why I asked is because we run a family business of two supermarkets. So, if I was to buy, I want to buy like invest in real estate, I want to have them under the business so I could have a tax write-off for depreciation. So I was just curious how would you structure that in an LLC so that it's better for tax, just for tax in general.
Yeah. So if you do it under LLC, you will not get these terms that I was talking about. These FHA loans, you will not get those.
Okay.
Yeah. So then once you're there, you like right now, I'm 2% higher. So when people talk about 8%, I'm actually getting 10.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's why it's like, do you want the 2% or do you want the 8%? You want the 10%? You know, so I'm
Okay, I
always
see.
like, as a investor, we're like 2 points higher. So you put it under your company,
Mhm.
the loans that you get are basically commercial loans, and they're
Mhm.
gonna be 2 to 3 points higher than your normal loans. Um,
Okay.
yeah, and so you have to think about like the trade-offs, like, okay, so you like I would your company, your current company should actually pay you guys ordinary income, right?
Mhm.
So if you're getting paid ordinary income, your properties now that you're purchasing under your name could write off your ordinary income so that you're
Okay.
not paying your ordinary income tax. I think that's the best bet for you starting out, right? And then after like 2, 3, or 5 properties or 10 properties, now you just go all in and do. At that point, I would move most of the properties under one company. And
Okay.
at that point, like now you could leverage the property. There's equity in the property now. There's other things that you could do at that point. You could do blanket loans now on the properties, depending on how much equity you have in properties, all that stuff. Cross collateralize all the properties, things like that. But that's gonna be like 5 years down the road for you.
Okay. Yeah, because right now we're paying like a lot of taxes. So I just want to see if what's better off, like if just in case you have a better general idea of it before I have to talk to a CPA or tax tax plan in regards to that. So that's why like if it was better to just structure a LLC now rather than later.
Yeah. If you don't care about the terms, you could just structure the LLC and then purchase. But at that point, they're more like the 20% down.
Mhm.
In your case, I would actually look if you guys depend on your goals, right? So
Mhm.
if you are very concerned about taxes, you either should just partner up with someone or look into partnering up with a syndication,
Okay.
so that you're actually just given the money and you don't have to worry so much about like running the day-to-day because
Okay.
only rental properties the rental part, that's a business unto its own.
Okay.
So you have to think about that too.
Okay. All right, thanks, Sue.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about that through the BRRRR process.
Hi,
Hey,
Tu.
Tu.
This is,
Tu, can you talk more on how is it reducing your income tax when it is cash flowing? Because it's income at that point in time.
Okay. Income like cash flow rental income is not taxed at the same rate as as your ordinary income. But you could also reduce it because yes, you cash flow, but you could deduct like anything that you do. So for me, I was actually negative, on paper, it shows that I'm
Yeah.
money. But
So you're talking more for
reality,
for cash
yeah,
flow, but you're putting in business expenses type expenses
yeah,
against that cash flow.
yep. So because of that, then you're technically losing money.
Yeah.
But you're not. You're getting the money.
Yeah, or it becomes tax-free income if you net zero or something.
Yep. Yeah. So that's how you can do it. Other questions? All right. I think someone had a question earlier, right? Someone tried
yeah,
to-
this is Ku. I have a question. Earlier you had talked about, I know you've talked about the house hacking. And I know that a few people here, they would kind of fit into that scenario. So I think also there's a couple of people on here that have already purchased their home. It's their primary residence. They've kind of skipped over into step 3 that you were talking about. Will you be covering, strategies around that during this like mentoring session, or
Uh,
is that more of like a one-on-one thing that maybe we may have to reach out to you about or something?
I could talk about it a little bit here, and then if you guys have more questions later, on like your specific case too, we could take a look at that, right?
Sure.
Or maybe let me ask your case. When did you purchase the property? Uh, how long did you purchase the property ago?
Yeah, so the first home that we had actually was a family that owned it, and then they moved to they relocated to Twin Cities, so we took it over, and I think on paper we kind of wrote it that like it was a gift. I'm not sure. That
Yeah.
was like really early on, and we didn't know anything about real estate at that point, so that's how we wrote it. So I don't know that we paid much taxes or anything like that. We didn't take out a loan on it because it was a home that was older, and it actually needed a lot of work. So we probably did more good for that home versus anything. But we did rehab it and brought the value up on that. So we have a little bit of equity in that house.
Yeah.
And then the current home that we own right now is our primary residence, and we purchased it about a year ago. So
Yeah, that one, your primary, there might not be much equity on it right now.
no,
What?
not very much at all.
Yeah, but the one you guys rented out right now, or your first home, uh, if there's no loan on it, you guys could get a line of credit on that. So that'd be your first thing to look into.
Is a line of credit better, or is because that's different from like a refinance?
Yeah, don't refinance right now. Get a line of credit.
And that's due to rates, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be very similar rate. Line of credit might be a point higher, but the thing about line of credit is that it's essentially a giant credit card. And so if you don't use it, you don't pay for it, you know?
Right.
But you have access to the equity of that home. And so
Sure.
right now they probably go to 75% because you don't live in it. If you live in it, they'll probably go to 90% loan on that equity. And so that probably the first thing you want to do is to do that so you have access to capital, right? And
Sure.
then you could use that capital to do what we're gonna be talking about, like the BRRRR method, right? Or you
Mhm.
could use that capital to also invest on other things.
So I'm curious because we actually bought this home in we knew going in that it wasn't going to be our forever home, but because there's acreage and I don't know that the value of the home sits. I don't know if we like bought it for a lot less than it should have been or whatever. But we knew going in that it wasn't like quite going to be like the home that we're going to stay in forever, and we were thinking that because it has like some amenities that were maybe beneficial, that would possibly maybe bring the value up a little bit if we fixed it a little bit. That we would maybe leave the home in about a year or so after we kind of hit that 7-month mark or whatever. Now when we go back to like purchase or downgrade or whatever, is that going to be like a downfall for us, or is that to like what strategies at that point then do you kind of look at?
Maybe after we're done with the BRRRR strategy, right? And then you're not scared about to talk about your goals. So all the
Sure.
strategy is based on what your guys' goals are. And so we could kind of put a like a 3-year plan or something like that together for you guys.
Sure.
Okay. All
Sounds
right, any
good.
other questions, guys? All right, if you guys do have any
Yeah, I
questions,
talked to you.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I spoke up earlier. So, like I said, my house was at a 2.2% interest rate,
Yeah.
and I've only lived in the house for a few years. I bought it back in 2021. So, and we did an FHA loan. So, what would you recommend at that point?
If you, how many beds is it?
It's a 3-bed, 2-bath.
Yeah. So if you want, just go purchase a larger bed. Like it'd be hard to go back to step one, you know.
Yeah.
I would keep that 2.2% interest. I wouldn't refinance. But you also need to check the what you call it, the value of your property. right?
So I looked at it and it jumped up about 80K.
Oh, that much?
So yeah, if we were to sell it, yeah, it'll be about 80K.
So you probably want to reach out to them and see if they could take out PMI. That's the first thing,
Okay.
because you're paying a private mortgage insurance. But I would
Yeah.
keep the 2.5 or 2 point whatever interest rate. And then if you want to, you see if it has that much equity, see if you could get a home equity line of credit on that, right? So you might to get maybe 40,000 out of that. And then you could use that 40,000 to down on your next one or something like that. And then also even if you use FHA already, they're having the conventional 5% down for duplex, triplex, and fourplex, November 18th. So when you go talk to
okay.
an officer to see if you guys could potentially qualify to still buy a duplex or fourplex with that conventional loan.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you do that, you probably need to buy like duplex that is like 4 beds on one side, right?
Oh, okay.
Because you're going up in bedrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey, two, that's the same thing for me too then?
Yeah, but you gotta go buy 5 beds, so you're kind of.
Hey,
I think Pele, your case probably just we need to
sell
look
my
at
house?
the equity of your house. Yeah.
Yeah, the HELOC, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You should
Yeah,
probably
I
look
was
at
looking into the
HELOC.
HELOC, and then maybe we could talk, tomorrow or something about it.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was looking into it a little bit, but then I want to take this class so I can do it the correct way,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I could introduce you guys to the people that we used before as well. And then
Yeah.
once you go through the process, you can if you have questions going through the process, you could let us know, right? I think Meng just did his HELOC, maybe. True.
Yeah,
Well,
I did. I just did it this summer.
yeah.
How's the process? Is it pretty hard or?
That was pretty simple. I mean, you basically fill an application and get an appraisal. And some banks will cover the appraisal, some won't.
Okay.
But on the appraisal part, to get out of the PMI, do you need to get an appraisal?
It depends on the lender.
Okay.
So some lenders they'll just do a virtual appraisal.
Do you think they will use an appraisal that I just did for my HELOC?
No. If that
No.
lender wants an appraisal, they're not gonna take anyone else's. They gotta do a brand new.
I think it. Okay, I could check with them because I did a HELOC through my mortgage company. too.
Oh, yeah. So just check with them. Each
Okay.
lender is different. Yeah, but to get the PMI, someone will just do it virtually. Like they'll just do the calculation. They're like, yeah, you're good. Yep. All right. Okay, so we're at the hour. If you guys have more questions, feel free to use the chat as well. I know hopefully when we finish the 5 session, you could answer a lot of your guys' questions as well. All right. With that said, I'll see you guys on Wednesday, 7
Alright.
p.m.